Welcome to the Language Alchemy Podcast, and thank you for joining me today. This is your host, Alejandra Siroka, a transformative communication teacher and coach who is devoted to helping multicultural individuals, change makers, and couples engaged in personal growth transform their lives and relationships through conscious communication. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. I'm grateful you're here. And if you've been listening to me for a while, I'm so thankful you've been spending time with me. In these 15-minute conscious communication podcast workshops, you are becoming more aware of some of your communication patterns, and you are also learning transformative communication tools to give you more fulfilling relationships and to create a more equitable world for all. Today, I have a Q&A episode. I am going to answer a question from one of my listeners and students. And in case you didn't know it, if you have a question about communication, I'm happy to record a podcast episode as an answer to your question. All you need to do is go to languagealchemy.com/podcast question. And then you enter your question there. I will add the links in the show notes. The question I'm answering today comes from Christina, a wonderful change maker who's learned to transform so many aspects of her communication in order to have meaningful relationships and a thriving life. And I'm so proud to watch how much she's grown and accomplished. Now, before I address her question, I want to invite you to join me in my upcoming annual 8-week online course called Choosing True Connection, a course designed to give you the communication tools you need to communicate authentically with others and have healthy conversations about any topic, especially difficult ones. And to have these conversations without losing your cool, taking it personally, or giving up on the people in your life. To learn more and to enroll, visit languagealchemy.com/enroll. And now, let's answer Christina's question. Christina asked, when we receive praise, so many of us deflect or minimize them. How do we move away from that and respond to compliments, praise, and expressions of gratitude skillfully? Christina, thank you for your question. Thank you for developing awareness about this particular unhelpful communication tendency. And thank you for wanting to know how to respond in a skillful way. To answer your question, let's talk first about compliments, praise, and expressions of gratitude. As you know, compliments, praise, and even expressions of gratitude are usually positive remarks that communicate approval or admiration. Usually, when people say them out loud, they hope the recipient will feel seen, valued, good about themselves. However, sometimes even with the best of intentions, compliments, praise, and expressions of gratitude can elicit discomfort in the recipient for a variety of reasons. If you feel uncomfortable getting them and you don't know how to respond, you are not alone. A lot of people feel uncomfortable because unless we have worked on bringing awareness to our communication, when someone tells us a compliment, the way they phrase it can come as a judgment. And even though it may be a positive one, it is a judgment nonetheless. So you may feel uncomfortable because someone is assessing and rating who you are, as in, you're so good, or you're so smart. They could also be assessing your ability, as in, good job on your presentation, or well done handling that difficult conversation with your in-laws. Someone could be evaluating your behaviors, as in, you did the right thing. And if that judgment, as positive as it may be, comes as something unexpected or if this specific judgment stimulates something triggering or traumatic from you from the past, it can be a jarring experience to receive this evaluation, this judgment. You were not prepared. You didn't see it coming. This is especially true if you didn't give your consent to the other person to be your evaluator. So you get this praise and you may say to yourself, I didn't give you permission to tell me who, what, or how I am. And sometimes, even if the nature of the relationship is such that the role of the other person includes having to assess your behavior or your performance, like in a teacher-student, mentor-mentee, supervisor-employee kind of relationship, that praise could elicit discomfort if the evaluator doesn't limit their compliment to what's within the scope of the agreed upon role. So you may feel very uncomfortable and even furious when you receive certain kinds of compliments outside of the role. Let's say that your work has nothing to do with how you maintain your physical appearance, and your supervisor gives you compliments about your looks. Well, that's outside the scope of their assessment role. So now, instead of responding to the compliment, you're finding yourself having to respond to your supervisor being out of line. The same goes for backhanded praise that connotes negative biases, such as sexist, racist, stereotypical, and heteronormative comments that even though they may be phrased as a compliment, they actually imply something else, a microaggression. This is, for example, if you are a Black person and you hear someone say that you are exceptionally smart, or if you are a Latinx person and you're told you're a good dancer because of your ethnic group, or if you are a woman and you hear how wonderful it is that you are embodying the quote-unquote feminine traits of self-sacrifice and caring for others. Or when you are a non-binary person and a family member cheerfully says, I'm so happy you are dressed like a normal boy today. And while it can be so hurtful to receive these compliments, which, as I said before, they're not compliments, they're not praise, they are microaggressions, the person making them may have no clue of the impact their words are having. And there may be other reasons why you may not know how to respond when you receive compliments, praise, or expressions of gratitude. Maybe you feel afraid to be manipulated by compliments, and you wonder if now the praiser is going to ask you for something in return. Or maybe you're more used to hearing criticism and negative feedback. So when you hear something positive, you don't trust it. Perhaps when you were young, you received the message that standing out is bad, selfish, or even dangerous. For example, I had many communication coaching clients who heard their parents tell them, do not make waves, be a good girl, and don't call anybody's attention. Many of my clients who grew up in Jewish households were told that standing out could get them and their family in trouble. Another reason could be that when you receive praise, you feel put on the spot, and that's embarrassing for you. Or it may be that you're tired of receiving compliments that perpetuate a particular social standard that has been so limiting for you, especially if you've been trying to break free from it. For example, many women want to be seen as valuable for their capacity to lead or to solve problems and not for their physical appearance. So receiving such praise is exhausting and uncomfortable. Now, you may not know you feel uncomfortable when you hear praise, which, as I said, is very common. How do you know though? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about next. You feel uncomfortable receiving praise if you respond in one of these 4 ways. Number 1, when you receive a compliment, praise, or an expression of gratitude, you reciprocate immediately. So you respond with a phrase like, "It takes one to know one," or "Look who's talking," or "What about you?" or "You are so amazing," or "You taught me well." Number 2, receiving praise is uncomfortable for you if you respond by minimizing what you heard. You may say something like, "It wasn't a big deal," or "You are exaggerating, my friend," or "Anybody can do this," or "It's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time." Number 3, receiving expressions of gratitude are uncomfortable for you if you deny what you just heard. And you say something such as, "Oh, that's too kind," or "I'm not always that way, you know," or "It was simple luck. I didn't have anything to do about this," or "Please, I don't deserve so much flattery." Number 4, receiving praise is uncomfortable for you if you respond with a self-deprecating comment, as in, "It was a fluke. I didn't really know what I was doing," or "Don't waste your time trying to cheer me up. I know that wasn't great. I made mistakes like I usually do," or "Come on, everybody knows I'm a fraud," or "I should give you my high school coach's number so you can know the real sad truth about me." How can you respond to compliments skillfully? To respond skillfully, you need to be rooted in your own being. That is to say, you need to have knowing of yourself, your strengths, your abilities, alongside with your awareness that you also have the capacity to grow. The trick here is to have self-knowing without a feeling of arrogance or superiority, but with a sense of healthy humility. This means that when you respond skillfully, you're not adding an explanation, a justification, or even too many words. Next time someone gives you a compliment, take a deep breath, feel your feet on the ground, and try giving one of these skillful responses I'm going to share with you. Number 1, smile and say, "Thank you," and mean it. A simple thank you accompanied by eye contact and a smile will help you take in the positive intentions. 2, if you want to add more words, you could say, "Thank you for seeing me that way." 3, let the other person know how you feel about how they see you. For example, you could say, "I'm grateful you believe in me," or "I'm touched to hear your words," or "Oh, right now I'm noticing a sweet sense of warmth inside." 4, say something explicit to let the other person know you are receiving their praise. You could say, "I receive your words of appreciation," or "I accept your compliments," or "I'm taking in your praise and I'm welcoming it." Before we recap what you've heard in this episode, if you are noticing expressing or receiving gratitude or praise is something you struggle with, then it's going to be hard for you to have a true sense of connection with the people with whom you'd like to have deep, close, or meaningful relationships. If you want to have thriving and satisfying relationships with important people in your life, I invite you to join me in a transformative 8-week online course that I'm teaching soon. The one I told you about in the beginning. It's called Choosing True Connection. In this course, I am going to teach you the tools to communicate authentically without losing your cool, taking it personally, or giving up on the people in your life. This is the 4th time I teach this course, and I can assure you it's powerful. And the course is not self-led. No, you will have me in 8 live sessions and you will receive my direct coaching. You can enroll now until November 8th. To learn more about choosing true connection, head over to languagealchemy.com/enroll. I will repeat it, languagealchemy.com/enroll. I will add this link in the show notes. And now, let's recap what you've heard in this Q&A episode about how to respond skillfully to praise, compliments, and expressions of gratitude. In the beginning, we talked about praise and compliments. Then I shared why sometimes it's difficult to receive praise. After that, I gave you some clues to help you find out if you tend to feel discomfort when you receive compliments or praise. And finally, I gave you 4 suggestions about how to respond skillfully. Thank you so much for listening. Until next episode, and as we say in Argentina, ciao ciao. Original music by Gary Lapo. You can find all links in the show notes at languagealchemy.com.